Welcome back to BST, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me on yet another episode. Tonight, Thursday Night Football. We'll go over that horrendous game that I just witnessed and so many others did across the country. We'll do the Bracken Best, which is just this channel's power rankings, our channel's power rankings if you're new here. And then we'll kind of talk about the YouTube TV, ESPN situation, my thoughts on it. I got some thoughts. It's kind of starting to piss me off, if I'm being honest. So let's just move right into this game. I mean, it was horrible. You know, Thursday Night Football has a tendency to be horrible. It's been horrible in the past. It'll continue to be horrible in the future. What was the game next week? Jets, Patriots? Like, ugh. That game's going to be like 40-0, especially with the Jets fire sale that happened. Like, there is no chance for them to win that game. So, I mean, that game's going to suck, and this game sucked. I mean, it was close. At the very least, it was close. It was kind of good, but, I mean, early on, Vegas controlled. I mean, the thing about Vegas is, like, controlled means, like, they moved the ball into, like, Broncos territory and punted. Like, it wasn't even anything crazy. Like, they really did not play that well during the entire game, Vegas. But, I mean, mostly it's about the Broncos. But early on, you know, I thought Vegas played decently. And that's not saying much. Like, they played all right. I mean, they scored the touchdown in the first quarter off a Genty rushing touchdown. And, you know, I thought maybe then it was like, okay, are the Broncos in upset territory? Because, you know, up until then, the Raiders have moved the ball. They possessed the ball for like 9 minutes of the first quarter, and it was looking good. And, you know, you take those when you're the Raiders and you're 2-6, you know, and against a good team like the Broncos. But from there on out, like since they scored that touchdown, so they punted on their first possession. They scored the touchdown on their second possession in the first quarter. So this is their second quarter possessions and on. Punt, downs, punt, end of half, punt, interception, blocked punt, missed field goal. Yeah, not good. And we'll go with the Broncos. So punt. This is just starting the first quarter. Punt, touchdown. In the third or in the second quarter, interception. Punt, missed field goal, punt, field goal. And on that field goal drive, 4 plays, -2 yards off of that blocked punt. I mean, like, they blocked the punt, got him down. Like, it was like inside the 15-yard line, I think. And they still just sucked. And it's like 3rd and 11, and they're throwing a screen pass to a wide receiver on 3rd and 11. And it's like, are you guys even trying? And it's a tied game at that point. Like, that's a huge possession, a huge moment in the game. So field goal there. Then in the fourth quarter, punt, interception, end of game. And the end of game drive was good. They did move the ball there to end it. But as you can see, overall, it was just a horrendous game for both sides offensively. Both sides defensively play very well if you want to look at it from that perspective. I don't really know which was which. I think it's mostly just bad offense. And I think the Broncos defense is certainly good. Obviously, they mentioned it nonstop about the sacks. They're like the second. They have like 45 sacks. They're like the second highest through a 10-game stretch since like the 89 Vikings or something like that. I mean, they are sacking the quarterback at a prolific rate. Their D-line is so good. They got Cooper, Bonito, Allen, so many other guys I can't even name that were making plays out there. So their D-line is good, undisputed. And they're on pace for the most sacks in NFL history. So that is undisputed. Their D-line is good. Their defense in general is elite. Like, no doubt about it. Like, that is what's going to win them games. And it's what has won them games. Even if, like, they have kind of a shaky game, when they need it the most, they show up. And so that is just the truth. that is what this Broncos team is. It's their defense. This offense scares the shit out of me. I'm not going to lie. Like, I will not be betting on the Broncos to win the Super Bowl or even win a playoff game because this offense is terrifying. Like, they are so inconsistent. It is unbelievable. And that's coming from a Packers fan who knows what inconsistency is. Like, this is unreal. Like, 3 and outs all over the place. Punting. And their punter sucked tonight. Like, it was absolutely horrific. I don't know who this punter was. I heard one of my buddies, a Broncos fan, he said he's an Australian. They brought him over. Like, get him off the team. Like, he's garbage. And he was just like punting and like shanking punts. Like, when's the last time you seen a punter shank a punt? Like, just completely, it goes off the side of his foot and flies out of bounds like 20 yards. Like, it was horrible. I don't know what was going on with that. He's been the punter all season. Apparently, I just haven't watched the Broncos enough. Maybe that's a normal thing. I'm not really sure. But yeah, that was horrible. The crowd was booing them every time they left the field on 4th down, which was a lot. They went 5 of 15 on 3rd down. And, you know, I have been very critical of Bo Nix. I don't think he's a great quarterback. I think he's a mid-level quarterback. He's in the 10 to 15 range. He has plays where he looks really good. And, you know, he can kind of throw from different arm angles on the move. But then he just has plays like that interception where it's like, what are you doing? And then he has plays where he has an open guy and he just doesn't set his feet quite right. And he just kind of short arms it because he just can't get... When you don't set your feet, like... Unless you're like Josh Allen or one of these guys with really elite arm, you're just not going to get the ball there. And that happened tonight on it should have been a touchdown. And he's happy feet out there. And then when he tries to throw it, I mean, his feet are just all over the place and he just short arms it. It falls incomplete. But they just have no rhythm on this offense. Absolutely none. It is horrible. It's like watching the Packers all over again, which is just a horrible experience. Just an offense that has no rhythm at all. And Bo Nix, 150 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. I mean, 1 pick wasn't his fault. But, yeah, I mean, this isn't a Raiders defense that is super prolific or anything. And, I mean, only got sacked once. Like, that's the thing about Bo Nix that also kind of makes me not totally believe in him. I mean, this is an O-line that is absolutely unbelievable, you know? So, you know, you shouldn't be facing these problems. I mean, you have some of the best protection in the league, and I'm not blaming it all on Bo Nix. I think a lot of it has to do with the play calling. I mean, they didn't run the ball well. 3.1 yards per carry, only 84 yards. So, I mean, it's not like it's just Bo Nix, but man, this offense is garbage right now. And when we get to the Bracken best, I literally have them at 5th. I'm like, man, the Broncos, they're 7-2. They're winning games. It's close, but they're winning the games. They only beat the Texans by 3 last week. They had to come back in that one. And then I'm just like, this is not the 5th best team in football. Like, they're a top 10 team just because the defense is really good, but they ain't the 5th best team in football, you know? So I moved them down, and you'll see that coming up. But I think for the Broncos, we thought after the Cowboys game, can they build off of this? And I released a TikTok. And I was saying, like, this defense is elite, no doubt. Even with Surtain out, they're elite. But I just can't trust this offense. They're inconsistent. And everybody in the comments is like, oh, you're a Packers fan. You can't say that. And I'm like, oh, I can't? And they're like, well, look what Bo Nix just did against the Cowboys. Every damn team does it against the Cowboys, man. Sure, and I was praising your defense because they looked very good, and they stopped the Cowboys' offense, which is really hard to stop. They're a very good offense, and they just shut them down. So I'm not taking that away from them, but I'm saying this offense, sure, they put up 44 against the Cowboys. Everybody does that. Cowboys' defense is garbage. So I think it's been really disappointing that they haven't built off of that. And I said, hey, if they build off of this and they go put up 30 on the Texans defense, which is a good defense, and, you know, they beat the Broncos or they beat the Raiders handily, sure, I'll start believing in this offense because guess what that is? It's consistency. It's consistency. And we just haven't seen that from Denver all season. And that's just the truth. So I don't trust Denver at all. Their defense can shut down some good offenses, but at the very end of the day, you can say defense wins championships. That's just a lie. It just is. Unless you're a historic defense. And I'm not talking sacks, because sacks are one thing. I'm pretty sure the Eagles led the league in sacks a few years ago, but we're not like a superb defense. So you can lead the league in sacks and not be a great defense. So anybody who's going to say, well, they're historically great at sacking the quarterback, I don't care. If you're not the 2000 Ravens did not have a good offense, but their defense was so good, it didn't matter. This is not that. The 2015 Broncos, this is not that defense. That defense was historically good, So, and I think the Broncos offense is better than the 2000 Ravens for sure. But I mean, the pieces are here. Dobbins is a good player. RJ Harvey is a talented player. Cortland Sutton is a talented player. But it's just about putting it all together. And I'm not sure that they're going to be able to do it because we just haven't seen it. And unless we see it, I just can't trust them. At the end of the day, I just can't trust them. And people can get mad at that, but I don't really care because I think the proof is in the pudding at this point. This offense is not good, and they are not consistent. And it is what it is. And for the Raiders, your season continues to suck. And I don't really know what you do with them. You're looking to the offseason now, and I think Chip Kelly should be a goner. I think Pete Carroll should stay. Because, I mean, it's not Pete Carroll's fault. This team is pretty garbage. They lost Jackson Powers Johnson tonight to injury. Geno Smith sucks. Genty, if he had an O-line, would be good, but at this point, he's just non-existent because of that. So, yeah, I don't really know what you do right now if you're the Raiders. But yeah, what a shitty game. Definitely do not recommend. Hopefully nobody watched this because it was not worth it. But you know what? Football's football. By the end of the season, we're all going to be wishing that it was back. So Broncos get the win. 10-7 over the Raiders at home. And I will say the Broncos uniforms are very nice. So, if we take anything away, the play sucks. The uniform's very nice. And Sean Payton sucks also. Should probably get some flack for this as well. But they're 8-2. So they continue to get wins and they continue to give them some space from Kansas City. They play Kansas City next week, so that's going to be a huge, huge game for the Broncos. But let's move on to happier things. The Bracken best. As you can see the teams here. So let's go through it. At number 1, we'll go from 10 to 1. At 10, Kansas City Chiefs. I've seen a lot of people dropping them out of the power rankings. I think that's ridiculous. You lost by 7 to the Bills. It's Bills are my number 2 team. I'm not going to fault you that much for that. But I didn't want to put them any higher. I think this is a good spot for them. This is where they deserve to be. They're a good team. They have good wins. They beat the Lions, who I put ahead of them. I just think the Lions are a better team. I think the Chiefs have some serious flaws. I don't think the Chiefs run the ball very well. If they traded for Breece Hall, that'd be a different story, but they didn't. I don't think the Chiefs run the ball well. I think their defense is good, but they struggle with pressure at times. If it's not a simulated pressure by Spags, I don't think they can get to the quarterback with a 4-man rush. Maybe Chris Jones becomes a demon in the playoffs, but even if they even make it, because I think they're on the outside looking in at this point because they don't have the tiebreaker against the Jags. So that could come back to haunt them. But I don't think the Jags are a very good team. So who knows? I don't think anybody's really considering that they won't make the playoffs, but it's always a possibility. So Chiefs at 10. I just realized I messed up and put an 8 next to the Broncos, whatever. That's supposed to be 9 next to the Broncos. The Broncos at 9. Like I said, I had them at 5, 6 or 7-2 coming into this game. I figured when I was making these, it was early, but I'm like, yeah, they'll win by at least a touchdown. They'll snap into it and win. I was wrong, and they only won by 3. And since that good performance against Dallas offensively, they have not put together a good performance offensively. And they've won. I mean, they've lost 2 of their games off of field goals, so they could easily be 10-0 right now. But I think if they were 10-0, we're talking about this as like a 2020. Was it 2020? 2021 Steelers, whichever Steelers team that was like undefeated through 10 weeks, 11 weeks, and then they just fell off a cliff. I think that's what we're talking about here with the Broncos. Like, this is like that Steelers team because they are not winning games very good. So, yeah, I got the Broncos at 9. Again, their defense is elite, and it will take them very far, but I do not trust this offense. At 8, the Buccaneers. I believe they were on a bye week last week, and they're a tough team because I don't really know where their ceiling's at. Obviously, you got Baker Mayfield, who, when he's on, he's one of the best in the league. But I don't think their defense is particularly good. It's basically just Baker Mayfield and Emeka Egbuka. And once they get Bucky Irving back, I think this offense will be one of the best in the league for sure. But yeah, that defense gives me some problems putting them any higher. But yeah, Buccaneers at 8. They're 6-2, so they're having a great season. But I think that loss to the Lions kind of exposed some things. Speaking of the Lions, at number 7, the Lions. Lions are an interesting team. You were kind of on top of the world a little bit. You had the tough loss to Green Bay early, tough loss to Kansas City, but I mean, those are 2 good teams. And, I think going into the Vikings game, you're like, okay, just take care of business here. And come to Thanksgiving, we'll get another chance to get back at the Packers. We win that game, I think the week 1 loss a little bit avenged, and, we're rolling. But you go into Minnesota goes into your home and beats you and basically control the whole game. Like, I don't think the Lions led the whole game. They might have led for a second, but it was only for a second. So just a tough loss. And I'm not saying their season is over or anything. Like, Dan Campbell will have these boys ready. But I don't know what to think of the Lions. I think their O-line is a little concerning. I think their corners are a little concerning. But they still have some very good playmakers. Aiden Hutchinson, Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, the Sun God. They still got those guys. And Dan Campbell, they could easily rise up this list in the weeks to come. So Lions at 7. At 6, the New England Patriots. Another interesting team. A team who's beat a lot of bad teams. And last week only beat the Falcons by 1. Not the greatest result for playing the Falcons. But again, it's a week-to-week league. It is what it is. But the record don't lie. Drake May don't lie. He's playing like one of the best in the league. So I had to give them their props. They're at 6. But I'm excited for that rematch against the Bills, whenever that is. At 5, the Colts. I've seen a lot of people drop them out. Like, they were just they've been hating on the Colts all season. They're like, oh, this team ain't real. This team ain't real. They're beating bad teams. And as soon as they lose, they're like, see, they ain't a real team. They ain't a real team. It's like, guys, they lost by 7 to the Steelers, who are a fine team. They're a middle of the pack team. And they had 6 turnovers. You're not going to have 6 turnovers every game. That is a horrific game. That is a fluky, horrific game, turnover-wise. It's not going to happen every game. So, and they only lost by 7. Like, to me, that ain't like that bad of a result. Like, you only lost by 7. You had 6 turnovers. You should have lost by 20, 21, So, I don't view that as a horrible, horrible result. To be honest, I just don't. So, I'm not going to drop them too far. They're tied for the best record in the AFC, or I guess not anymore. The Broncos win, but going into that game, they were. I'm not going to drop them that far. I think they played some of the best football offensively this year. And they just got Sauce Gardner. So, I think that's going to help them defensively. So I'm not going to drop them. I don't think they deserve to drop. I think they're still one of the best teams in football. At 4, the Eagles, they've had their 2 best offensive performances. And if they beat Green Bay, they could easily rise even further. But I think we're seeing consistency on offense. Again, it's against the Vikings, against the Giants. An injured Vikings defense a little bit. I mean, they played great against Detroit, but it was an injured Vikings defense. But if they can build off that, and this offense can show some consistency, we're getting back to can they go back-to-back talks? And I just think they're too talented, pretty well coached. They kind of just feel like an operation that's running smooth right now. And if they can get a big win against Green Bay, things are rolling. And they're going to be a force come playoff time. So them at 4. At number 3, the Seattle Seahawks. I've seen a lot of people still disrespecting the Seahawks. The Seahawks are absolutely one of the best teams in the league at this point. Undisputed. No, if anybody's trying to say otherwise, they just don't know anything. And I think we have some bias because it's Sam Darnold. At the end of the day, I think that's the truth. I think people and me, I'm a Sam Darnold hater. I came into the season. I think I bet that he wouldn't have over 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. I just really didn't believe in him. And I didn't believe that the Seahawks offense would be dysfunctional. And JSN, it looks like one of, if not the best receiver in football. They just got Rashid Shaheed, which I think will open up even more for him to operate. And their O-line has played a lot better than I thought it would. And that defense is elite. You got playmakers in the secondary. I do think their secondary is a little bit weak, but they got some good playmakers there in Witherspoon and Eamon Wari. And you got that good D-line with DeMarcus Lawrence, Leonard Williams, Boye Mafe. There are multiple dogs on that D-line. So I like what the Seahawks are made of. They just got a big win in Washington. One of the most impressive wins of the season by a team. Just thrashing of Washington. So give the Seahawks their props. They're here at 3. They could move up, but I think the Rams are just a little bit better in the NFC. At number 2, the Bills. I know it was kind of a big jump. I had them in the 7 or 8 range in weeks past, but I just think the Bills are a really good football team, and you can hate on it, but I think this is kind of the win that they needed to kind of break out of the funk they've been in. Obviously, they had that big 4-3 win against the Panthers, but it's kind of the Panthers. I get it, they just beat Green Bay, but I don't think they're a great team. I think Green Bay's just not very good at this moment. But you play the Chiefs, who have gotten some. Momentum was on the Chiefs' side, and they've been playing really well. It was in Buffalo, I'll give them that, but I just thought Buffalo played a really good game, and I thought their defense really showed up. I thought Bosa played well, Bishop's running all over the field, hitting people like Ed Reed. Crazy from him. And offensively, James Cook, when he's moving, they're moving. Josh Allen played one of the best games of his career against the Chiefs. I think all systems go now. The Bills, they had that little bit of a funk losing to the Patriots and the Falcons. But I think the Patriots are a pretty good team, and they lost by 3. So I'm excited for that rematch, as I said before. Bills at 2. And my number 1 team, they were number 1 last week, the Los Angeles Rams. Dominate the Saints. I just think this team has it all. You have possibly the best wide receiver in football, Devontae Adams, who is one of the best wide receiver 2s in football, touchdown machine. Stafford's playing like the MVP right now. If you took my money, he's the MVP of the league. You have Kyron Williams and Blake Corum as a decent running back duo who can, move the sticks when you need them to. But don't get me wrong. The engine of the offense is Stafford and these receivers. Kyron Williams had that really good season a few years ago. He's not that same efficient runner he was then. But this defense, they're up there in sacks as well. They have Verse. I always forget the guy's name, the Florida State guy in the middle. I can't remember his name. They got Verse. They got Young. I just really like what the Rams are made of. They just traded for a corner from the Titans, who I thought that was one of their weaknesses, but you sure up that spot. And I just really like what the Rams are made of, and I think it's so important when you have the QB coaching combo that has won a Super Bowl for. And the last time we saw Matt Stafford playing at this level, they won the Super Bowl. So to me, the Rams are the best team in football at this current moment. So yeah, that's the Bracken best for Week 10. A little bit biased with the Broncos one. They should be higher. That's the thing that I kind of hate about doing this on a Thursday, but it's kind of when we do them. So, yep, let me know down in the comments what you think of the Bracken best this week. Moving on to our last topic of the night. The YouTube TV and ESPN dispute. First off, it's just pissing me off at this point because now, last week, I'm like, all right, I've experienced this with Dish before, if you have heard of Dish, another TV provider, before I switched to YouTube TV. I've experienced it with Dish where there's a little bit of dispute. They drop a channel for a few days. They come to terms. We get it back. But now this is becoming a multi-week issue. It started last week around this time, and, we weren't able to watch college football games, a few of them. Obviously, they're on other channels too, but a few of the good college football games we weren't able to watch. That kind of made me mad. Then we got to Monday, and we weren't able to watch Cowboys-Cardinals, which wasn't a phenomenal game, but still, it's kind of like, this is stupid. Why aren't, I pay for YouTube TV to watch all these different football games. Why am I not able to watch these, And now by the time you guys will be watching this, it'll probably be Friday, and, college football's on Saturday, and we'll probably miss another week of that. And then my Packers play on Monday Night Football on ESPN. I'm probably not be able to watch that game. So I'm getting kind of pissed now. Let's resolve this, people. And it's all a money thing. I mean, YouTube TV, that's a Google thing. So Google versus Disney, basically, because Disney owns ESPN. Google owns YouTube. So it's Google versus Disney. And guess what? Google has a lot more money than Disney. So you think, and basically what Disney wants, Disney/ESPN, they want more money for their product, which is college football, which is Monday Night Football, which is all their TV shows. First Take, Get Up, all those morning sports shows. So they want more money. And if you're Google, you're like, you think we need you? We have so much money. Well, we don't need you. So I don't think this is going to end anytime soon. I think this is going to drag on for a long time until Disney's like, all right, whatever. We'll take the $200 billion deal or whatever. And to them, that's not a lot of money. That they speak in huge amounts of money. That's not really it's not like a average citizen can relate to the amount of money that is normalized in the industry, So it's just kind of frustrating, and you never really know when it's going to end because at the end of the day, money decides all. And it just feels like with these two giants of the entertainment industry, what's going to happen? And obviously, I saw this thing, it's like the viewers for Monday Night Football were down 20% for Disney/ESPN. Because a lot of people got the app, ESPN Plus, and were watching it through that, but still wasn't everybody who had YouTube TV. So down 20%, that takes a big hit for Disney and /ESPN, but depends on how long they're waiting to wait this out. How long they're willing to wait this out. But yeah, I don't think YouTube TV/Google is going to budge just because why would they? They're already rich. In the grand scheme of things, they don't need this money, and they're the bully in this situation. They're not gonna bow down to Disney and be like, yes, you can have whatever you want. I'm sorry, you can have whatever you want. How much money you want? All right, yep, sure, you can have it. No, it's not gonna happen like that. So I don't foresee this ending anytime soon, which is certainly frustrating. But yeah. That's all I wanted to talk about tonight. Not a wonderful night of football, but it's football at the very least. We got college ball on Saturday and another good slate of NFL action, which we'll be back to give our comments on. And we're moving through the season. It's already week 10. Kind of feels like it's flying a little too fast for my liking. Kind of sad, to be honest. Like it's already coming to an end a little too fast, and it's kind of sad. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, all those things. It's greatly appreciated. Hope you enjoyed the show today. Yeah, we'll be seeing you. Enjoy your night. Be safe, all those things, and see you later.